Howdy, Cindy. All night shots. All washed out to sea. How did that van get through that tube? Other intro video, I couldn't really show it to you. It was bad. All right, welcome back, folks. Howdy. Welcome back. I told you I would be back. All right, so here we go here. This is August 31st of 2024, and we're going to start up the loop here. Let me just kill that in the background. Go ahead and start this, put this into motion, okay, and we don't have all our data here, okay, it's a little jumpy and stuff, so there's our our little jumpiness there, and we already kind of covered this event last night that came out here. We'll go through it really quick here, and while this is kind of glitching around, I'm going to load up stereo A for a second too, and let you take a peek at that one. It's a little smoother. It only takes a frame every hour, so but you can see there's our event over here, and then another one coming out the top up here. Okay, so all that's sitting there kind of going there. I'll take a minute to thank you guys for taking a moment of your precious time to be part of this precious family. This is not your ordinary YouTube live stream, okay? This is something different, all right? And we might have some new members on board here tonight, so just greet them warmly in the chat. Something I have to also do is put a little disclaimer and warning that this show is very disturbing. So it's good to stick around to the end for the spiritual report, because you can't just watch the first half of the show and walk away and leave all scared. Okay, that's not what this is about. So there's our little loop playing right there from stereo A. I actually want to capture this last event coming off of stereo A here. So we're going to back up. Since the other one, we already kind of covered the activity on that one, and it was all glitchy anyways. So here we are opening up August 31st at 11:53, okay? And we're going to go through this, and I want to point out this event that's coming off the sun up here, okay? Okay, right here, I want you to watch this little shadow right here. I'm going to go to the frame before. Okay, there's a round spheroid object here casting a shadow, and as it moves away from the sun, you can see the shadow kind of following along with it. There's your darker object, the shadow, plasma wrapping around it, okay? But what I want to go to is that first little opening frame, right? Oh, right there. We're going to zoom in on that one really quick here. And that means taking a moment of your precious time, even in replay, okay? So coming over here, you can see we had some kind of event going on over here. A little round, darker object right there. See it? But that's not the one I want to focus on. Here's our new little object coming out right here. Round little black spheroid casting a shadow. Okay, we're zoomed in a tad bit too close. Let me back out just a little bit there. Maybe one more so I can use the buttons. So there's the frame before. You can see it coming out, casting a shadow. And the shadow gets shorter and shorter as it comes out. There's also a secondary one back in here wrapped with plasma. There you can see it. Let's zoom in on that one, because here you can see this one wrapped in plasma a little bit better. Let me darken this a tad bit because some of these are too bright. All right, so round spheroid object out front right here, casting the shadow, and then another one back behind it, still wrapped in plasma back in here. Let me tell you something about these objects. When you see a big plume of plasma coming out like this, there's nothing else can make a dark spot right in the middle like that. Okay, it's the object. It bends light. It's ripping some of this plasma off as it goes by. You can see this other one that's out in front here, but that's a good example right there of these objects wrapped in plasma as they interact with the sun. Let me pull this down just one little scooch so I can use the buttons down below. We'll brighten it back up a bit. Okay, so we had a little skipping data, but over on this side you can see, whoops, please Lord, give me patience. Our little round spheroid object with plasma wrapping around it. You can see the, here, let's just get in close on that. You can't see anything because I'm not zoomed in on it and pulled it over and put it better in your face. There we go. All right, so here's your round object. You can see the plasma coming out, changing direction. Okay, this is a smaller version of the, what we're used to seeing. It's one of the little moons or whatever that's satellites that are trailing behind a big one. Okay, so there's a good little cup shaped right there showing you the front side of your object and your plasma that's trailing out behind it. Okay, let me zoom back out. Okay, now when we get it just right here, you can see it matching up with our dark little core over here. These cores are like the core of a planet or a core of a star that's burned out, and the middle part is so dense and so compact that it absorbs light. It's like energy depleted. It shows up black, and when it comes out, you can see our black round spheroid, wrapped in plasma here. Here's the little U-shaped bow shock. Sometimes they're V-shaped, sometimes they're round like this, but you can clearly see it's painting our basically invisible target. Okay, these things are hard to see because they're black. They don't reflect light, but when they interact with the sun, light drapes around them, much like an invisible table. If you threw a tablecloth over it, it would paint the contour, the edges, the corners, giving you the shape. You got to remember, space is three-dimensional. You're looking at it on a two-dimensional screen. These things aren't going out right to left. They're coming at us. They're going away that way. They're doing different angles of coming at the camera, a little bit this way, a little bit out. Sometimes they go different directions. So you got to remember, this is a three-dimensional space looking at it on a two-dimensional screen. So these are round spheroid objects. See, that one glitched out the satellite for a second there. Then it emerges again. All right, so we captured it over here on stereo A pretty good. All right, so let's move on now. Let's get moving here with our solar flux indice is 232. It's up 18 points. Okay, we're back up into the red here a little bit and climbing still. Sunspot number count is climbing too. We're up 37 and we're back in the yellow now at 180. That's almost close to red. That's 200. It'll turn red. Okay, meanwhile, our area is in the yellow. Shall we pop this open? Okay. Thank you for being patient here. I was going to try to go on a little earlier, and I had to reboot the whole show. So I was trying to catch a new family member possibly earlier. Hopefully it's not too late. For those of you who are used to my late show, sorry I'm early. All right. My family's tolerant. Meanwhile, back to the show. 37.99, leaving the limb. Okay, finally, get rid of that one. And the oddball down here, the 3800, it weakened and finally departing the limb. Meanwhile, 3807 staring us right in the face. Pretty strong, but pretty gapped. Okay. Over here, 3806, a very, complex little plaque, but it's starting to get stronger here and a little stronger there. We're actually blue wrapping around red here. We might have beta gamma delta configuration there, even though it doesn't look as strong as this. Our configuration's pretty close right here, blue and red, getting pretty close. Yeah, and then we got another big one coming off the side over here, 3811. Now, usually these magnetic disruptions in the corona of the sun, okay, the corona is like the magnetic field of the Earth, except the sun's is so strong that it emits light. So, any kind of other magnetic field out there will cause disruptions. These things seem to be connected to our events. All right, meanwhile, 3811, very complex, rounding the corner here, getting blue and red pretty close. I mean, I could get way up tight here with it. Let's get in there since we can. Look at that, like this triangle type shape, boom, boom, with red and blue really close. So watch out for 3811 as it starts to round the limb. Something coming, out of this region. And these things end up corresponding. Let me go back a little bit here. I do need to load that up. Even though there's not all the data, you see these spires that are coming off, these sunspots sometimes coordinate with these spires. And these spires act like, well, they're magnetic compass needles that are pointing out to an inbound object. And not always just the bright areas, the dark areas as well, because these objects absorb light and they come out of these little dark patches as well, too. So as we come back over here, we'll have to watch this because it seems like it's very compact, very organized, and that there might be something attached to it, and we'll see an event out of that. All right, let me zoom back out to 200. Sorry for all the zooming. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Now we're going to scroll over or slide over and scroll down and see how fluxed we are. Solar fluxed, that is. Okay, here's your activity for today, all right? It doesn't look like much. It doesn't really correspond with what we saw in the sun, but we did have a slight little M flare right there. And this is just a data drop because satellite or Earth's eclipsing the satellite again right there. And then we have some little activity right here going into tomorrow. Would you guys like to take a peek into the future? No? Really? You guys don't want to see this? Because it's right there. It hasn't even been clicked on yet. In fact, we could even refresh the data and get every last frame that's available. Well, we're going to do it anyway, so tough. Thanks for playing along, you guys. You're a hoot. All right, so not much to see right now. No big events or anything, but right now these are our latest images. And it seems there's 11 frames. That's about right for right now. So meanwhile, this little event right up here, watch out for something coming out of this region next. See how it's starting to flare up? It starts over and flares up, starts over, flares up. Okay, so probably a little event coming out of there. Meanwhile, you can see stuff coming out of this region here. So a couple of spires, a few of them still sticking out around the thing. J-Pos, yay! And Cindy, oh boy, good to people here. Anyways, back to the show. So we could probably expect to see some other stuff coming out of some of these regions here. Okay. So little peek into the future there. Sorry we had to do that. I know you hate it, but we're trying to toughen you up here. All right, now we're going to get to geomagnetic forecast. Nothing for tomorrow, nothing for the 2nd, nothing for the 3rd, okay? Remember, we were calling for nothing yesterday either. But watch what happened. Okay, so we're going to come down here. X flare 10%, M flare 60%. Our M flare was a 3.8. I think that was yesterday's right there because that's no 3.8. Meanwhile, we come on down, beta gamma, beta gamma. One of these was delta a little while ago, so maybe it declined a little bit. But we'll have to watch out for 3806, 3807, okay? Meanwhile, looking over here at the KP index, whoopsie, let me back up. Just note right here, storm, G1, see the yellow stripe, G1, okay? Now we'll open it up and get a little closer and up personal. So last night we were talking about this one. I said we'll probably get a second one. And then with that object that emerged 3 days ago, that we might have an unexpected geomagnetic storm here. I was talking about that last night, and look what happened. Not unexpected at this channel. Okay, here we are with our auroras, doing pretty decent right now. We're still at KP. Well, the last little spit out reading here was just about below 4, so we're still taking a pretty good little storm here. All right, so these 3 little bumps right here we were just talking about. We had this first one, and I was talking about having 2 more. So I think all 3 of them maybe. Anyways, there it is. We'll get to the other article on this in a minute here. Meanwhile, August 30th, that is not an updated thing because today's Saturday. We will come over here to our tracker and do a little track-a-lacking and see if maybe Noah or one of these guys. Okay, so that one did. Okay, so here's our latest CME going off this direction, okay? So it's not headed towards Earth. That's good news. That doesn't necessarily mean object that induced it is not heading in our direction. There are field boundaries around the sun, magnetic boundaries that reach out, similar to these circles here, okay? These are just orbits of satellites, but similar to these circles are regions further out away from the sun, magnetic barriers. And when something hits one of the magnetic barriers, boom, it causes our spire, and then our spire sparks off. Bing, it's like an electrical spark. They connect, bzzz, and then the object continues moving this way. We don't expect anything because we see CME going this way, yet objects going this way still retaining geomagnetic radiation. Okay, and that radiation buzzes our magnetic field unexpectedly because we're thinking everything's going away when the object that induced it, that hit that say this circle right here, it was coming in, bzzz, and then continues like this. So 3 days from now, even though this is moving away, we still might get an unexpected thing. That's the reason why. Okay, and we can go back here in a little bit. I could show you last night. I think we already kind of did, or 3 days ago, and the reason why I called for a G storm today. In fact, we're just going to do that because we're at this point right here. So the 31st, all right, we went 3 days before. It was 1, 2, 3, and we lit up the 28th. And remember what happened here on the 28th? Let's just let it load up and play while I thank you for being so patient that I go over this. You see that event right there in the big object that's induced it? Okay, even though the CME went away, that object, we passed by it, or it passed by us. And when its magnetic field from this bigger one, okay, and all its little satellites came, look at the trajectory. It's kind of coming past the sun and towards the camera, just a little bit off to the left here, kind of almost like a hall going by up and kind of north of the equator, okay? So there's the reason I showed you last night that we could possibly expect an unexpected geomagnetic storm right there, okay? Now, no updated article here, but over here, potentially dangerous sunspot, the new region AR 3806, has a Delta class magnetic field. See, I thought I saw one earlier. Has a Delta magnetic class field that possesses a threat for strong X-class solar flares. Any explosions this weekend will be geo-effective. I repeat, will. Any explosions will be geo-effective as the sunspot is turning to face Earth. Okay? Here we go with another unexpected geomagnetic storm. Unexpected for them, not here at this channel. Because we were talking about this last night, and here we are the next day. It's not a I told you so thing. It's here are our results type thing. Okay. During the late hours of August 30th, a crack opened in the Earth's magnetic field. These cracks keep opening. We got a cracky magnetic field, don't we? The solar wind flowed through the gap, sparking an unexpected G1 class geomagnetic storm with auroras both Europe and USA. Okay. We do have a weakened magnetic field, okay, and this could be possible, okay, where you do have a weakened magnetic field. You're not going to get a crack in it, but you will have a weak field. But this strong aurora, especially with pinks and all these other colors, this is a pretty strong aurora for a G1 that was unexpected, but I was expecting a pretty strong storm out of this. I bet it was a little stronger in G1 maybe. Anyways, there is your unexpected G1 storm for this community, for this scientific community, but over here, I was kind of expecting this, all right? And that's why I'm going to go back to doing the 3-day thing again. So let's do that really quick before we get too far along. Tomorrow will be the 1st, okay? So let's go 3 days back from the 1st. 1, 2, 3. Let's see what happened on the 29th, because energy, most of these activities take about 3 days to get to the Earth. Okay, here we are with a bunch of missing data. This is unacceptable. We're talking life and death issues. We need data. So what I'm going to do here, this was the 29th. I'm going to go down to stereo A. Remember we opened up the 29th here on stereo A before. Just to kind of check this. Oh, remember this one we were looking at the other night? That big object going north off the sun? And come over here. Look at this. What direction does it look like it's heading? Kind of towards stereo A. It's stereo A is looking at the sun, and this thing's kind of going above the right of stereo A. So we come back to here. Gonna do this, folks. I'm gonna do this. Sorry, we have to, but come back here. Red square, stereo A. If the object is going this way and it induced a CME, well, it must have been traveling like this, induced the CME, and then still heading towards stereo A. Okay, so watch this. When we come back to the 29th here, expect we could possibly see some unexpected geomagnetic storming again, especially over the northern hemisphere of our planet. Oops, back out now to that northern hemisphere of our planet. Sorry. Oh, I have to back out of this. Sorry, I'm going too fast here. Well, that's the sun. Well, here. We're located south of the sun's equator. We're down more at this region where these sunspots are. So anything that's coming off of this region would go north over our planet, over the northern hemisphere. Okay, so don't be surprised if we see an absorption event or another unexpected geomagnetic storm tomorrow. Because when we look back here, we just had 3 unexpected ones in a row. Let's shoot for 4, folks. No, let's not. I do not want any more geomagnetic storming. That is not good for our planet. It absorbs down to the core. The core heats and swells. It heats and swells the magma, which pushes up on the underside of the crust. And once it comes out through any kind of perforation or man-made perforation or weak spot, and then we have problems. Volcanoes, earthquakes, all that great stuff. Come on over, read more about this. A beautiful picture. You can enjoy the article. Now let's come on over here to see your Schumann resonance, okay? And this is the core and the shell, or the core spinning inside the Earth, okay? Whether there's an outer magnetic or an outer core, which I call a shell, because if you took an outer core that's solid with magma above it, say, if you took that outer core and took the core out of it, it would be hollow inside. So it's a shell. Your core spins inside the shell or inner core, generating the magnetic field. The magnetic field is electric. It hums like a high-powered voltage wire, and it hums at 7.83. All right, our planet's electrical hum is 7.83. Our magnetic field, and any kind of disruptions in it, well, you get intensities, and these spikes all the way through these different frequencies. All right, so a very bumpy day. We want to see smooth green line, good continuity. Here we're just having this jumbled mess. Ever since this event yesterday, we came out of it, but it's back into it again. Intense, tapering off, growing in intensity again, tapering off, growing in intensity, tapering off. So another roller coaster ride of emotions and pain and all kinds of different things. The shell could be cracking. Yeah, I think it's something more than just cracking. It's not even. We'll get to that part when. First, you have to grasp these concepts before I can tell you about solid liquid dynamics. So, but anyways, very bumpy day. Indication we had a lot of pressure come in. Gee, I wonder why pressure came in. I wonder why we had pressure build up down below. We just had 3 unexpected G1 storms. So, boom, here's your activity being transferred down below. We saw pressure buildup. We probably had an earthquake, pretty good one, or a volcanic eruption. It tapered off. But again, pressure was still mounting and building again. We had another release, tapered off, built again. So this is very roller coaster ride for you guys today. And you guys are really doing well with your spiritual work and dealing with this issue in the background, as well as spiritual attacks. You got that going on too. We'll get into that part at the end of the show. But it's important to know that this is still going on in the background despite your day. Okay. And it can affect other people and make them moody, and they could be step out of character and not be themselves, or not what you expect. So you're having a bumpy day, they're having a bumpy day, and we also got to get along. So it's important that you understand that this going on in the background, it's not your fault. It's something that's, well, you can't control. All you can do is the best to, well, to deal with it and handle it. So let me just refresh real quick. Oh my gosh. I want to get, okay, just our latest readings real quick. Nothing too intense. We're still kind of scraping and grinding a little bit. Okay. So this is not too bad compared to very intense. I liken this really quick, this white intense blast of all these different frequencies from 0 to 40 hertz. Imagine someone taking every station on the radio in your car, AM and FM, every station is playing simultaneously. And it sounds like this garbled mess of commercials, songs, country, rock and roll, commercials, talk radio, all jumbled together. This, and then somebody comes and turns the volume up really loud. Then it really rattles you, just super loud. These are all frequencies very intense. So your 7.83 that we're used to being at is intense as well as the surrounding frequencies. This will rattle the creatures, it'll rattle you. Okay, so that's why we come over here and check this. All right, kind of help explain your bumpy day. Because I know. All right, we're coming over here to our null school, and we're just going to take a peek at this. Is this the same thing I saw in the clouds today? Yes, it is. Okay. Meanwhile, just kind of looking around at storms. Nothing too bad going on up there. Boo, boo, boo. All good through here. Our typhoon that was lashing Hawaii, or I mean Japan here, kind of scooting up through past the Kuril Islands by the Kamchatka Peninsula now. Kamchatka. All right, so still our little string of rotations, this one, this one, this one, but they seem to be kind of dying out in strength, which is good. We're getting closer to transition season where we start coming out of summer and start heading towards fall, and we'll start growing a polar vortex, and the southern one will diminish. So while we're at this vector, at this at this altitude, I want to come over and do the sandstorm report. So particulates, your dust and extinction aerosol. Nice terminology, huh? Okay, here we go over to our dust storm, our sandstorm basically in Africa, very intense, and it's still throwing out some decent plumage here. It's not super white and intense, but you can see our conveyor belt structure kind of swooping it up, stretching it out, pulling it into this region, and that's good. We want sand to go through there. Okay, we wanted to even cross over and go over into this region and quell any kind of storms that grow over here. Okay. Meantime, as we start going backwards here, it looks like a big old guy with an arm and he's flexing his muscle. See, he's got his arm out here, he's got his elbow bent, and he's reaching up, and there's his fist, and he's flexing his arm right there. And then his second arm is extending off over here, waving at you, giving you a thumbs up. All good. Okay, coming over to here. These people are in deep doo-doo. If you cannot see it, don't look. Meanwhile, let me just get into the sandstorm part, because that is very intense sandstorm going on over in this region. Very intense, warfare going on over in that region as well, too. And, it's all because of what's looking right at them. Very intense sandstorm coming off of this eye. Not so intense in this eye anymore. But still looking right at that country. Breathing down their back. Incredible. Incredible. Our Lord is truly amazing. Okay, so big wide spread of sand coming all the way across. We want to kind of show you a little bit how it goes up into America a little bit. It's not as intense, it's not as dense or whatever, but it's reaching out. It's being pulled out by these storms out to Hawaii, putting a nice little shield of sand in that region right there, kind of quelling our hurricane productivity here, isn't it? It's coming to the rescue. Do, 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 do. I'm going to disrupt all them storms. All right. Coming to the rescue. Thumbs up. Okay. Showing some flexing his muscles. And then staring down these guys. Oh, man, are they in so much trouble? Whew. Let's move on. Come on over to the chemicals. We're going to talk some SO2, and that is sulfur dioxide, not carbon dioxide, the one that everybody's all up in arms about. Apparently, they didn't go to biology. But as we get into this now, here is your SO2. Here's your country divided kind of right down the middle here, bleeding out on the right, all perforations, well, very soft crust over there, okay, so a lot of bleeding. And off to the left, perforations in the crust, but there's your country divided. Could be united if you'd all stop following the mainstream media. Pathetic. They are just absolutely hilarious. Meanwhile, we got to squeeze in a fire report into this too. Yeah, because our SO2 emission sites are starting fires from underground. Okay. See it? See how the fires match up with the intenser plumes here? And this is over in Oregon. This is our new volcanic site that had a 120-mile long plume that left a big shadow on the ground. But no word out of the geological community about this site at all. Meanwhile, we had some fires up here in Wyoming start because of SO2 emissions, and that's right around. Then we come on down here. Here's Salt Lake City, just outside of it. You're starting to see fires here. All right, but this activity all started up here in Canada. All right, last year we had this activity, the fires up in Canada. Then it started creeping south. Now we're having it here in the lower 48. Okay, and this plume down here just got intense in the last few days. All right, and a couple fires right there. That shows that there's a lot of pressure underneath this area right now, right? Because it's pushing out intense plume of gas. We have pressure in this region. We had that, those, are you kidding me? Right along the Juan de Fuca here, that inside fault right there, those are SO2 emissions coming off the water. Do you guys see this? These are SO2 plumes coming off the water from our our crack in that fissure opening up. Wow. Anyways, let's come on down. This activity had crept down into Mexico. Looks like we're getting a little bit. Yeah, it's creeping again. And it started to creep east of our divider line. And let's just, I can't count any of those. But so far, you can see what's going on up in this region here in Southern Cal and starting to creep back down into Mexico. Even stuff out here in this is probably South Dakota, Montana region out here, up by the Canadian border here. All right. So when you see that SO2 emission sites can cause fires, well, maybe look at where you live on this map and think, do I live close to a site that could cause a fire? Okay. Not only are we going to have fires because of, natural heat from the summertime, dehydrating plant vegetation, and then, our natural wildfires, we're going to have these induced ones from underground. We've been capturing trees that are burning from underground from the middle out. Well, that's because this heat comes up, starts the root structure. The root structure, smolders underground in the dirt, sucks oxygen down into the dirt, and it'll smolder for days until the root structure burns, smolders away, and then you get the fire starts up in the inside cone of the root. The roots all come together at the trunk in a conical shape, cone type structure. Meanwhile, starting a fire from the middle up through the middle of the tree. Pretty tricky stuff. Meanwhile, SO2 emissions doing really good here at Hawaii. You can see a little uptick in pressure here and here too, as well as there. So they're doing it, the hub of the Pacific Rim doing its best to keep up with the pressure. And whoa, don't even look at that. Coming over here to China, we're going to adjust for their daytime. Okay, here we are. We got fires still on. Let's take off the fires. There we go. My bad. Jumping all over tonight. Meanwhile, taking a look here at China, very intense, thick plumes all over the place. Their ground is very porous, okay? With this gas coming up, it erodes away little channels through the dirt to make it from down below up to the surface. Water, when it's flooding, goes back down into those little channels, absorbing down into the ground. Then gas comes back out, back and forth, eroding away those little channels. And their ground is getting more and more porous. Meanwhile, over here in the Gobi Desert, this is an old inland sea that evaporated, and the weight of the water sitting on it pushing down has compacted all the sand in the Gobi Desert. It's so dense and compacted from having a ocean or a sea sitting on top of it that it's so compacted that gas doesn't make it through it. So any gas that wants to come out of this region can't, and it gets shoved out the side over here, increasing the amount for these people as well. Now, this is a poisonous gas. We had a little bit of this come out of Reykjanes and go to the UK, and they made everybody stay inside. So imagine what it's doing to the people of China. Okay, this is poisonous gas. Sulfur dioxide, the gas that surrounds the magma down below. Coming over to Taiwan, it's spewing some too pretty well. We haven't seen a good pressure release in this area. We're starting to see hot water anomalies growing around it. And what I want to do, whoa. This is the eye of this bull. See how God's using the topography and the clouds and stuff, blending them together. That is not, that's the spiritual realm, totally. I've been watching it all day, all over the place. It's going off. Meanwhile, down here in Java, we have the Purple Island of Java doing a lot of this emission sites being our relief valve, okay? The two volcanoes here constantly going off every day, high emissions, and we get earthquakes along the plate tectonics here, or plate boundaries that relieve pressure. So doing a good job relieving pressure in that region. Meanwhile, we look, Australia's now having this issue with SO2, okay? Where are we? Oh, yeah, here we go. So New Zealand, White Island volcano starting to have problems as well. Okay, so every little continent's going to get it. It's even coming out from underwater too. Remember, we just saw that. Here we are at this little island. I always kind of need to talk about this little island. It has two good emission sites. Ooh, even a third one growing here, kind of. So 1, 2, 3. That to me looks like an increase in pressure in this area. We're used to seeing 2 all the time. We got a third. That shows me more pressure has come out. This is our little relief valve too. Imagine a bicycle tube with 3 tiny pin, holes in it, a slow leak. Over time, it relieves pressure. And then when new pressure comes in, it won't allow it to build up too much because it'll come spewing out of these little holes. Here is Fiji, our deep quake region, and Tonga, okay, where we saw the big volcanic blast. Our deep quake region is starting to have SO2 emissions. That shows me that more and more pressure building up underneath our deep quake region here. So remember this island when we get into our quake report. Thank you for bearing with me. You guys are doing awesome. Now, all right. So here we are at our sea surface temperature anomalies. Okay. We have volcanic vents on the ocean floor that are opening up, spewing either magma, steam, hot water, creating heat plumes out in the oceans. All right. Here's your structure here on the Pacific coast. Let's get in really quick and just get into this. Here is your fulcrum point at the top of California. Comes out, your Juan de Fuca comes out, goes up, zigzags up through there. Okay. See the zigzag? And here's the base of it cutting up. The inside plate getting hot out there. You see cold water inundation trying to fight back. This was almost pinched off for a minute, and it's even punctured out into this a little bit. So you see cold water trying to fight back, but we're seeing heat plumes coming off that plate, the Juan de Fuca plate itself. We'll come over to the earthquake report in a little bit. Meanwhile, just kind of checking out this huge, massive plume off of Tamu Masi. This is the largest volcano on the planet. It's underwater out here, and all the surrounding sea mounts and everything really relieving a lot of the pressure. Way out here, we're usually cold water. Okay, so it's absorbing a lot of the cold water that's usually here is dealing with a lot of the heat. Meanwhile, we get other cold water patches that get shoved around, and here's cold water inundation in this region right next to hot. Okay, so that'll affect our vortexes in a minute. Coming over to our relief valve here at Taiwan. All right, you see these fingers of yellow reaching in from the backside now, coming down this island chain and getting right into our fulcrum point. They're about to have a pretty good sized quake right here pretty soon. They need, a bunch of mid-range fives. We saw some decent energy relieved, and it relieved this problem. So our little relief valve kind of jammed up again. Looks like see temperatures climbing between Taiwan and the Philippines in this region now. There's definitely a new hotspot, not new, but a hotspot opened right there. A hotspot opened up right there. Meanwhile, we come down to Java. It's doing its job as far as relieving pressure. This cold water plume is growing. I bet you we've probably seen a quake or something in this region today because look at this. We're getting cold water up through this region right here off of Sumatra now. It's not just here off of Java. This area is fighting back too. I bet you we've seen a quake probably or a good volcanic blast in that area. Other plumes out here. Here's the bottom of the planet. So it's a mess. And it's kind of every time we get energy from the sun, those heat plumes grow. Sometimes we get new ones that open up. Okay. Now let's come over here to the Atlantic where this plume over here it was intense up in there, kind of breaking up a little bit there, more kind of concentrated around this area now. So our plume kind of tightening up in this area. Meanwhile, we got this new little branch growing here. That's not good. But we do need to have sand coming in this area. All right, so go sand, go, because see what's starting to form underneath? We need lots of sand and covering that region right there. And for our, it'd be cool if our conveyor belt structure changed and didn't bring storms right up through the Gulf because, watch this. Really quick, over to our standard sea surface temperatures. Okay, not anomalies, but your standard temperatures. See how hot it is in the entire Gulf? So if anything comes through this area, it's just going to grow in intensity. Also, we got to beware of this growing out of here now, too. That's what's firing up storm sentiment at Hawaii. So we need that sand to come across and continue to quell storms, or at least try to in that region right there. So now I'm going to switch back to the SSTA. You see how they're kind of lining up too? These heat anomalies are actually changing our regular standard sea surface temperatures. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and put the winds on because it's controlling our wind patterns and our weather currents now. Okay, our weather patterns are no longer following the lower jet stream. They're following these conveyor belt type structures that are induced by the heat plumes coming off the water. All right. So I want you to kind of just look at that correlation, how they're matching up. We get cold water, we get hot water. Over the warmer water is warm air. Over the colder water is cold air. Hot air rises, cold air rushes in to replace it, causing rotation. Okay, and now we're seeing our cold water plumes kind of deviating our conveyor belts. Look how this is drawing stuff up to it now. Look at this up here. Look how it's taking all this stuff and drawing it up to there. Okay, so now you can see our conveyor belt structure is kind of going amok because of new openings and different water temperature, variants and stuff. Here's hot and cold next to each other, getting rotation through there. All right, so there's your conveyor belt structure over here. Sorry, I'm jumping all over. Slow down, Brian. This is where our sand would ride, mixing in with this. I don't want to see this kind of backward rotation here, pushing sand back into Africa. I'd much rather see it come right across the Atlantic and across and up and into here. A new kind of vortex rotation increasing in this area would pull more of this energy along the coastline and not so much up into this region. But for right now, that's your heat signature conveyor belt type structure for the Caribbean. Now, I know there's some storms that are brewing out there and starting to go through this area. We're going to have to watch this carefully. All right. This is what we're been kind of dreading for a while. Let's just pray that the sand keeps doing its job. Okay. Meanwhile, your conveyor belt structure for the Pacific, I'm going to let that sit for a second, and you can see heat, cold, directing, steering stuff, making faces, taunting, teasing. Also, your La Nina with little pockets of hot water trying to disrupt it towards the end here. But we were getting these weird blossom patterns off the bottom here. Now that changed. Remember the other night it was all blossoming and flowing all over the southern hemisphere. Look how it's all hugging this conveyor structure down below here a little bit. See these rotations out here? See this? Tell me that's not hot, cold induced right there. Go ahead. I mean, you can tell me it's not, but I can see it. I love you guys. You're so much fun. It's hard to find anymore. Is that a blue dragon with red eyes and hair on fire? There's his mouth, his nose here. Because they're real. Yep, right there. Two eyes. There's the horns, flaming hair. You can see the mange or the flange. There'd be the nostrils. See the nostrils? See the mouth open right here? Yeah. But that's why you gotta stick around for the end of the show. Because, meanwhile, a lot of cold water in this region right now. And we have all the SO2 emissions coming off this coastline that are relieving pressure in that region. We didn't go over the SO2 there, but okay, so let's just kind of leave off with this region right here because we're going to come back and talk about this in a minute and open up our earthquake report. You guys are doing so awesome out there. Okay, so let's open this up here. Come on down to our deep region over here. Okay, so starting off around Fiji, nothing right around it, but over here we do have a 4.6 down at 5:30. So finally, our regular deep quake that we're used to seeing, mid-range 4, oh, actually 4.6. So yeah, mid-range 4, just a click higher, but nothing too bad. So puts 5 energy at the surface. But as we come into this crack, it's already a crack, a fissure in the crust of the planet. Okay. As pressure comes up, bubbling up, it wants to go the path of least resistance, which is this already opened crack, right? But this little island here now has 3 SO2 emission sites. So it's pumping, it has a new release valve. It's doing a little bit better job. Note, no quaking in the area. We do have volcanic activity at these islands as well, keeping earthquakes down. Rarely do we see one on land here, but we get a 5.0 down at 35. This is all one volcanic plateau. See the mountain ridge running down it. So little activity just under the surface there. Okay, we'll come up here to our deep region. There's a 5. It's not even at a deep, that's at the surface. So there's your 5 energy at the surface being relieved up here. Meanwhile, we got a quake here, Java, a 4.1 down at 128. Okay, so a lot of SO2 emissions going on here, a lot of volcanoes going off through this strip, and it's still not enough pressure because now we're seeing here, this is probably in the weak zone, yeah, right along the shoreline, but it's down under a little bit deeper. So these volcanoes right here, any one of these 3, this and this one, all of those, their base is this whole area. Same with this one. This whole complex right here is one big volcanic strip floating on that. And so much activity that we're getting a 4.1 down at there. That's good. That's relieving more pressure. All right, coming up to, just off of Sumatra. Here we go. This is what I was talking about. 5.2 at the surface, relieving energy in that region. No wonder why we saw cold water coming up in here. Bingo. Oh, beautiful. Finally at Taiwan. 4.5. That's the only one. All right. 4.5 down at 25. It's not a lot of pressure being relieved, but it is a good indicator that it's not locked up. So thankfully, we see mid-range 4. That's good. I'll take whatever we can get. We're going to need more of that. You're going to see more activity in this region because you saw that pressure coming in. Actually, that yellow was from yesterday because that map doesn't get updated. It's a day behind. All the data takes a day to put that map together. So since we saw that yellow increase pushing in that region, we have had a quake now. Just to kind of remind you, this map is yesterday's date. Okay, if we try to go to today's, all the data isn't in to put from all these different instruments out here to put this map together. It takes a full day to fill in all the data there. So that's a day behind. Look. 1 day ago, we saw this increase in pressure right here. And I was telling you we need a quake. We've seen a 4.5. It's not much, but I bet you tomorrow when we're looking at this, it'll be maybe a little less yellow and more orange or red. Okay, see what I'm saying? We might even get another quake out of it, relieving even more pressure. Now, as we come up here, South Island of Japan, 4.6 down at 56. This is where we had our big quake, all right, and also the storm that just hit that region. Pray for those people. I would get out of Japan. 4.5 down at 38 right here. Look, let me tell you something. You got 3 plate boundaries coming in and conjoining right here. These are 2 peninsulas. This one right here is a peninsula, and this one is a finger-shaped peninsula. They're coming up and they're touching 2 fingers and molding together. All right, so there's a plate boundary right there. These 2 touching come up against this whole plate off to the left over here, and they join in a 3-way intersection just off the coast. And this bay would be a very dangerous bay, by the way. And here's a volcano just inches away, and then you got your earthquake down at 38. That's right around a volcanic site. Not at the base, but then we have this feature right here. This feature right here. You know which one I'm going to talk about? It's this feature called millions and millions of people tightly compacted in one huge city called Tokyo is right next to the three-way intersection. And they're having quakes right there, right now, or recently. I wish people would listen to Mike, but maybe they'll listen to me. Meanwhile, we get up here. 4.1, I got to take a look topographically here. Yeah, we got a fault line through this whole complex area. So yeah, probably a little fault, especially down at 16. That's closer to the surface there. So then, okay, we covered that one. Here's one on a plate boundary, 4.6, mid-range 4. Probably activity still going along this plate boundary. They're just not recording a bunch. Down here we have our, please, Lord. Okay, maybe we don't. Give it just a second here. There we go. 5.6, but this is not a plate boundary quake. This is at these little volcanic islands out here. Okay, you can see just inside the fulcrum of this plate boundary right here, you've got a stack up. The land has stacked up and pushed up through making this big ridge, and then finally pressure so much you get volcanoes that pop up and produce little islands. These are all little volcanoes running the perfect shape of this fulcrum point finger type fulcrum point, okay? It's not a sharp little 90, 45 degree angle. This one's a little more rounded in shape. And you can see right the fulcrum point, the very tip of this is your pressure down there, 5.6, and it's down at 53, down at the base of these volcanoes. Let's get into South America real quick. We have a 5.0 here down at 25. That is pretty close to our plate boundary and our weak zone right along the shoreline. So there's your plate boundary basically quake. It's locked up a little bit right there, but we have so much SO2 emissions coming out of this area. This 5.0 could have been like a 7.0, and now it's not. It's a 5 because pressure in that region is doing its job. It's when you don't see stuff that you can tell that it's working. Okay, you see this other fulcrum point right here. You can see it reaching into land way up here in the structure of the mountains, all right? This pushes this whole area up. Just off the fulcrum point is your 4.3 down at 98. Oh, you guys doing okay out there? I hear crickets. Oh, that's outside. All right, guys. Here we go. All magnitude going into America. All right, very quiet out here along our volcanic islands. One little microquake there, but nothing. Very quiet up through this region. No magnitude to check out here today. I want to see 3.7 there, down at 49. That's a little deep there. Let's see this fulcrum point up here. 3.2, there we go. 3.2 at the surface right there. Look how they come up, make a point, and then it goes back down. Boom, boom. All right, so you can see multiple fulcrum points here. This one underwater. We have the actual plate tectonic boundary, the barrier, the plate barrier that runs into the land and then comes back down. That's a second one. See it right there. A third one here in the bay. Okay. Another one up in here. This mountain range. This mountain range. The one going back behind it. See that one right there? And then another faint one, but it's there. Okay, and these are like waves that have been all shoved up. If you've ever taken a shovel and pushed some snow, you see it build up in front. Little pressure waves will build up in front of it. Same effect here. So you can see the energy coming right up to the fulcrum and then drop right back down. So little 2.2 there. You see it better at that. Whoops, right there. From that dimension or perspective, we'll say. Now, here we go into the Juan de Fuca. Finally, fulcrum point 2.6 at the surface. This is going to be interesting. 2.1 down at 16. All right, so a little bit deeper than where our energy comes out at a weak spot, right? That's telling me this pressure down below here. Bear with me. Okay, here's our point. Fulcrum, or the fulcrum point for California. Juan de Fuca comes out and goes north like that. Let me kind of get it about proportional in size to this one. Okay, take this off. Now, right here where we have this quake is in between our inside plate boundary right here, just off of our fulcrum here. So here's your fulcrum here, coming out, going up. So it's right out here, and look, this is where our cold water inundation broke through and made it into here. Right in that zone right there, look. See? Boom. So I have a feeling that little quake right there may have opened up a little something in here, allowing cold water to flow through and diminishing some of the intensity in here. This was starting to turn. We had a yellow line, you guys. It was looking kind of concerning there for a second. So some of these little quakes just came in and relieved pressure. Let me get the magnitude here, 1.7, and it's not much. It's a fulcrum point, another one, and then this. These three right here did a little trick off the coast there. I want to back up here. For people up in Seattle, Washington, little microquaking going through the Puget Sound right in that area. Then we come down. We have small quakes. They're not much, but they're at a volcanic site at the top. Okay, so that tells me pressure down below is trying to rattle and push up through the vent. But the vent's plugged up, so it just rattles and shakes. There's Mount St. Helens having 3 little microquakes. So microquakes at volcanic sites, indication of pressure down below. We've seen relief of pressure right here, here, here. Then we come, it drives. See this straight line right here? Energy doesn't want to change direction, it wants to keep going the same path, so it drives inland. 1.3, coming down to our geysers. Little uptick in is how many there are. The magnitude's not so much, but there's a little uptick in the amount. It's good. Relieving pressure in small amounts is good like that because as it comes in through the North Bay area, it reduces magnitudes. All this fault system all through here is super, super weak. Okay. Backing out really quick. You can see California used to be an inland sea right here. This is the bottom, the seabed of an old ancient water feature. Okay, came all the way down here, and then it poured out through the ocean right through here and through here. That's leaving the Bay Area kind of like it is. See? All right. All that area in between, very, very weak. A lot of cracks, a lot of faults that run through that area. 1.3, that's good. Keeping magnitudes down, plate boundary, good. Little clustering down here, magnitude check, mid-range 2. Mid-range 2. Vonda, hello. Oh, good. Alrighty, so coming on up to here, we can see this activity going on out here. A bunch of recent ones. This little area coming to life with some microquakes. We'll check some of the recent ones. Goldfield here again, mid-range 1s. So a little bit of microquaking. Relieving pressure in this area. We got a new weak spot out here. A new path of least resistance, don't we? Up here by Walker Lake, still having 2.2. Mid-range 3s. A little stuff out here by Mono Lake. Watch out around that area. It's not much, but it's an indication that, this is an old caldera area rattling a little bit. Indication of pressure down below. Activity of volcanic site. We come down through there. Not too bad. We checked those. Did we? 2.6. Twos. Okay, good. Oh, that. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. Offshore, a little bit. Good little micro quaking through that area, relieving pressure, nothing too big. When we zoom out, you see they're very small. So they're not really worth checking the magnitudes. Activity through here, we will check this one right there. See it hiding under there. 3.4 in Mentone, Texas. All right, so perforations in the crust, man-made perforations, we all understand how that happens. But magnitude 3 in Texas today, indication of pressure down below. Good little swarming over here in New Mexico, just over this side, and that's a 3.3. Okay, you see the similar magnitudes with a bunch of other little mid-range 2s and stuff around it. So, mid-range 3, mid-range 3. 1.7 there. Sorry, I'm trying not to go too much. Okay, what? Oh, never mind. Couldn't be that problem. All right, another little quake just now there in Texas. Sorry, I've got to kind of click back one at a time. Up here in Oklahoma, seeing stuff. Mid-range 2. Here's your craton going through there, just off the craton. 2.2 here in Center Ridge, Arkansas. If it wasn't for the Craton Ridge running right through here, that would be your diverse quake. If it wasn't for man-made perforations, these would be diverse quakes as well, but they have reasons for being this one as well, because it's just right on the edge. Yeah, we got to give it to the Craton there. Quick little magnitude check through this region. 3.2, 3.3, 3.8. Still a little high in there. We've been seeing mid-range 2 to 3 sometimes. So a little uptick in pressure in that region as well. Indication of pressure down below. Probably because of our geomagnetic storming that we had. Okay. Oh, whoa. Hello. Hiding up here. 4.4 on the boundary. Greenland Sea up there. All right, so energy being relieved along the plate boundary there. We could use a lot more. I'm sure there is more going on, but okay, let's move on to our volcano report, shall we? So, meantime, I got to get rid of some of these other instruments because they take up a little space. Oh, we'll need that for geomagnetic. Oh, we won't because it doesn't have anything. All right, let me open up the volcano page. Thank you for your guys' patience. We will get right back into the show here. This one has so many ads. All right, 35 and 32. See it up there? We're back to 67. 67. Are you kidding me? Is that what that said? We got to click on this anyways. 35, 32. 67 volcanoes that are currently active. All right, if I had told you 7 years ago when all this stuff started happening to me that 7 years from now we'll have all these volcanoes, 67 on land and another 200 underwater, you'd be like, nah, you're crazy, dude. Well, here we are, and I'm still crazy about you. Shall we? Hey. Imagine living on an island, you're in this little community and you got that going on in your backyard. I'm glad this isn't going on near the mountains I live. Or happening to the mountains I live near. Stromboli. A new lava flow started to emerge from the southern crater area at about 3 o'clock local time last night. Gee, I wonder why. Maybe because we had a geomagnetic storm. We took some absorption. The lava has been descending over the Sicario Delph. Uh-oh, I can't say that. Karaminski, 30,000 feet? 33,000 feet? 6 explosions released ash plumes that reached altitudes of 33,000. Big release of pressure there. Remember, we were looking on the Schumann. I saw you build up a pressure and then we had a good release. Well, there's 33,000 right there. Add this new one to it. Kikai in the Ryukyu Islands erupted a 6,000 footer out of that new one. It hops on the map at 6,000 feet. Our new round of pressure opened up a new weak spot. Add a new one. There's your new one to the list. Sakurajima, 8,000 feet. Suwanoshijima. Where did I see it? Oh, there it is, 6,000 feet. Ibu, or IBU, at 8,000 feet. Luatobi, 9,000. Samaru, probably 15, yep. Dukono, 8. And White Island, no ash. Fuego, Songay, 23. Reventador, 15. And that was just in the last few minutes. Okay? It just turned midnight here. That was just the last few minutes. Here's today. So let's open up today, which is now yesterday, because, well, time flies at this channel. Time flies when you're having fun, and maybe you're having fun. Okay, meanwhile, just a brief little look at this map again. You see all these volcanoes through this region. Here's our White Island one through, New Zealand. Then here's our plate boundary coming up. All these volcanoes after the little ash or the SO2 emission island. Then we have volcanoes. They round the corner. These ones are semi-active. Then can't do that in this map. This whole region right along the plate boundary at Java. Look at all those active volcanoes just in that region. Up here at Sumatra as well. All the way up to Kamchatka has a bunch now. Stromboli and Etna. This one's active, Stravinsky. So even over in Hawaii, all the way down all through this area, relieving pressure the best they can. Okay. Now let's get into today's. I can't even say that right now. Stravinsky, and you see it. Stravinsky. There we go. Suwanoshijima. 6,000 feet there. IBU at 8,000 feet. Luatobi, 9,000. Samaru, 15. Marapi on Sumatra, 11,000. Good. That relieves some of the pressure in that area, too. Remember, we had a quake there and this explosion out of Marapi. Dukono, 8,000. White Island, blah, blah. Shishaldin, getting back in there. Fuego at 15. Nevada del Ruiz back on the map at 21. Songay, 22. Reventador back on the map at a 14. And Sabancaya at 22. All right, a lot of tall blasts, a lot of volcanic activity. 2 new players on the map. Okay. Indication of pressure that built up down below, coming up through the surface via volcanoes and earthquakes. All that volcanic ash going up into the air, clinging to all the extra water particulates in the air, the higher humidity. The particulates cling to that water, creating a higher concentration of raindrops. Okay, that creates taller, stronger storm heads, higher convection, stronger storms, larger hail, faster winds, all kinds of nightmares. all kinds of factors in our weather now, and that's why our weather is going off the hook. These models are going to be, they're doing their best to kind of keep up, but we also have other factors. We have that flow coming down the west coast that's taking storms that approach the coast and then taking them back out to sea, keeping this region very quiet. Meanwhile, we have that flow coming up from the Gulf, coming up through here, bringing hot, moist air off the Gulf up into this region. Cold air comes down from Canada and usually collides down here, and we have our tornado alley. But it's so hot this year that the cooler air is way up north here, and now this warm, moist air has to drive way up here to find cooler air to cause convection. And now we're getting a new kind of tornado alley effect more up in Canada, more so than down here. Okay. Whew. Here we go. Current conditions, the nighttime of August 31st. We also have our geomagnetic storm enhancement too. So, no geomagnetic storming right now, but like I showed you last night, we clicked on 3 days prior to the first, and we saw an event coming which could possibly be a G1. All right, G1 to G2. Hopefully, we don't get it. I don't like being right. I don't want more storms and more geomagnetic enhancement. Hopefully, it misses us. We don't get it. But in the case we do, just take into consideration the morning of the 1st. There's noon, convection. All right, you see how this is getting organized? This whole arm coming down, you could see severe weather in that. It's further north where your cold air is. This is a very well-developed arm right here, and this is where I would expect to possibly see the enhancement would be in that region. Little independent, isolated supercells at convection tomorrow. Then we get into the nighttime. It seems to dissipate and get kind of wrapped up and pulled away off the coast. Meanwhile, a little inundation coming up into Texas here, right at the border, at the nighttime of the 1st. Then we'll go into the morning of the 2nd. No enhancement now, or possibilities yet. Noontime, convection, nighttime. So that region of Texas, September 2nd, the day after tomorrow night, or the day after tomorrow, all through the day, starting from the morning, they're going to have residual moisture in the air already, and then it blossoms by noontime, really convecting by convection, and then still convecting at nighttime, even into the morning hours of the 3rd, through the noontime, tapering, and then there's the nighttime. So tapering off at convection on the 3rd, we'll see how that works out. But anything, well, let's go one more day, the 4th. So morning of the 4th, noon. Okay, watch out there. Noontime here on the 4th. We'll have to go see what came off the sun today, the 1st, to see what enhancement there would be. But there's the convection of the 4th. So morning, residuals there. Noon, convecting. Convection, pretty good. Isolated, the nighttime. Then we get into the morning of the 5th. Now, anything after this is kind of unpredictable, but we're just going to plow on through this. Morning of the 5th, still there. Noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 6th, noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 7th, noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 8th, wow. Noon, convection, nighttime. We'll have to continue to monitor this because that right there, that storm right there on the East Coast could affect millions and millions of people, knocking power out, causing chaos right there. Especially at convection, nighttime hitting them. And you see this other low wrapping up back here. Don't let this one get unnoticed too. It's convecting at nighttime there too. Then we go in the morning hours of the 8th, noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 9th, noon, convection, nighttime. Look at this hurricane coming in on the 10th. Morning of the 10th, noon, convection, nighttime. September 10th, the day my life changed, has always had these hurricanes on September 10th. And here we go, nighttime. Morning of the 11th. 911, 911. You got a huge hurricane taking out 3 states at once right there. Noon, convection, nighttime. That is not going to be good if that goes up through there like that. Morning of the 12th, noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 13th, noon, convection, nighttime. 15, 14, noon, convection, nighttime. 15, noon, convection, nighttime. 16, there's another one coming. Look at this one forming over in this hot water. Remember I showed you this hot water over there? Noon, convection, nighttime. All right, so let it play. Not too concerned really for the next few days. That activity in Texas right there. A little bit of that around the 5th. Now this is a little further out, but this event coming up the East Coast, that's a biggie right there. That could do, we'll have to monitor that. That's 6 days away. So hopefully the 7th, the 4th, we don't have a big event on the sun, because a big event on the sun would cause enhancement on the 7th, and we don't need any enhancement to what this model has already got for us. Yeah, that's gonna. Oof. So as we get closer and closer to that, for people who live out in that area, you might start to give a little heads up for that region, and then this, as we get to that. I might not be here for that. We'll see. All right, there's your forecast. All your geophysics, astrophysics can be very disturbing because it's really happening. That's why we got to have to do this spiritual report, okay? Because you guys need to understand that this is not scary. This is part of the process, okay? And when you kind of grasp that, then it kind of takes some of the sting out of it. And then you realize, wait a second, I'm here for a different purpose. Yeah, you're here for a different purpose. Okay, let me pull up some images here. I don't think she made it, but just in case, do we have some new people there? I thought I sent somebody. Yeah, we're gonna do this anyways. We're gonna go to September 10th of 2017. 7 years ago. I know it's old news, but it's the most important news that everybody seemed to miss. And it's still the biggest headline, most earth shattering headline still going on. Oh, I know. I need to type it in. Okay, so here we are, September 10th, 2017. And back in these days, stereo A was behind the sun. There was stereo A and stereo B. And, well, there were some big X flares that came off unexpectedly. We were going into grand solar minimum back then. You remember those terms, grand solar minimum, you guys? Yeah, well, we didn't go into that minimum. We had 3 giant X flares, X10, X9, and a 7.8. Well, the third one was a little smaller of all of them and kind of went unnoticed, and I poo-pooed it too. But, well, something else happened. The Lord showed me this, and now I got to show you and warn you all about this. Okay, so let's just get this pulled up and playing really quick.
Okay. You'll see it cause a third flare. Boom. Here's our object right here. Looks like Nibiru. It's got a wing coming off on this side and a wing coming off on that side.
Okay, I'm not a big Nibiru guy, all right? I didn't really believe in all this stuff. I'm more the UFO guy because, well, I had seen them at a young age and had seen them all through the course of my life. And I knew that they were real. I understood people just didn't believe or had never seen one yet. You know, it's when you finally see one, it changes your whole life. It changes your perspective. You can't keep your eyes off the sky. So I was more of a ufologist back in these days, and I wasn't so much of a Nibiru guy because I seen people taking lens flares and claiming them as Nibiru, right? So I'm not a big believer of this thing until God showed me this. On September 10th, 2017, my life changed on this day. My life turned upside down, backward, forward, and most of all, it's hard to believe, but inside out. Okay, here's your dragon of Revelation 12. We're going to go ahead and continue this just real quick. Sorry, I had to interrupt there. I'm going to go ahead and just play this. I have to kind of put down a little groundwork there so you understand this is the real thing. This isn't just a lens flare. This is NASA satellite capturing a biblical event.
Here's our object right here. This looks like Nibiru. It's got a wing coming off on this side and a wing coming off on that side. And that's not all, because behind that is this big object right here. This is what's causing our flares. Here's a conduit of plasma that is sucking off of our sun, going into this planet. Here's a damage ring or an impact zone on this planet right here. You can see Nibiru sticking out in front of it here. Run this backwards. You can see it goes backwards. There's the second flare. Back behind the sun, comes back out. There's the first flare. So the mass of that object is sucking material off of our sun, causing these solar flares. Boom, right there. Comes back behind the sun. Comes back out. Second flare. And third flare.
All right, so there's September 10th, 2017. Let me just kind of remind you guys this date right here. In Revelation 12, we saw the Revelation 12 star alignment on September 23rd of 2017. That's 13 days after this date, okay? Now, what happened is, in the Revelation, it says there was a great and wondrous sign, a woman draped in the sun with the moon at her feet and a crown of 12 stars. She was pregnant. She was about to give birth. And then another sign appeared. A great red dragon stood in front of her, ready to devour the child. But it makes it sound like the dragon appeared after the woman, because it says then another sign appeared. But if you listen closely, it says the dragon stood in front of or stood before the woman. This is 13 days in front of or 13 days before the woman stood. The dragon stood in front of the woman, 13 days in front of the woman. Now, at this time frame, everybody was looking up at the heavens. They saw the star alignment. They saw that. That should have rattled the whole world. That should have been the wake-up call right there. Okay? Notice this is called wake-up call. All right? This bigger object back here is bigger than our sun. Okay? It's ripping plasma off. You got to remember, this is a three-dimensional image. Okay? This is a spheroid. It's splashing over this round object, bending light. Okay, you can make out our bigger nemesis back here. Okay, and that's those bigger objects. These are the satellites, the other cores that go along with it. This bigger object matches the definition of some gnarly stuff. Okay, and it looks to be stripping this core of some of its matter, and the matter that's reaching back towards this neutron star, binary star, red. We'll get to that part. Okay. The material that's being pulled off back towards this gets ionized, giving the wing effect of this stellar core that's out in front. Okay. Now, the wing effect happens to all of these cores. It's not just this one. Okay. But that's your winged planet. How it would possibly have wings is because there's matter still being stripped off of this, being yanked back to this bigger object with a massive gravitational field. Okay. So massive that it's ripping plasma off the sun and splashing over it. Okay. And God showed me this. I didn't see it at first. It was very, very hard to see. I struggled with this for hours until finally I saw it and almost had a heart attack. Because I'm an astrophysicist, I see this and I go, oh my, it's bigger than our sun. Uh-oh. So I was like, you need to show them. You need to warn them, Brian. They all saw the woman, but they missed the dragon because they were looking after the star alignment. Well, if they just read it, it says the dragon stood before. He said everybody saw the woman and they missed the dragon. Here's the dragon, Brian. You need to warn them. So this is the day my life changed, September 10th, 2017. Okay. And then right after this, 13 days later, we had the Revelation 12 star alignment. It actually took place. Okay. That should have just knocked everybody to their knees. But apparently that's not enough. So then this stuff starts happening to me.
She's holding a...
Okay, and after I did the video, I went out in my garage and I'm a mess, all right? I'm in anguish. I felt like I was dying, really. I thought I was. But we got to go to this date first because we're trying to stay chronological, okay? So, I don't know if you can see up here at the top, October 4th, 2017. This is 11 days after the Revelation 12 star alignment, okay? The dragon stood in front of the woman to devour the child she was about to give birth. Then this event happens in my garage. I'm going to just go ahead and play this for you guys real quick.
Display right here.
Oh, I got it.
This was actually captured the day before the other picture, but I hadn't found it for years later until I was digging around through my, my old pictures and stuff and went even further back to see if I'd missed anything, and I captured this one. And we're going to zoom in to this streak right up here, this one right here.
Ooh, with me for a second. Right there's good. We don't need to zoom in, right? That's good right there. You can see the lady, her profile. She's holding the baby. You can see the baby's head pretty well right there. See, she's got it cupped in her arms, and you can see this little baby right here, okay? I could zoom in more, but right there captures it really well. Actually, let's just continue the video. Sorry.
Now, hopefully, you can see that we have a lady's profile here. Here's her eye, here's her forehead, her snub little nose, here's the bottom jaw, she's smiling, she's looking down and she's holding a baby, and here's the baby's head right here, here's the face, the back of the head, here's her arm cupped around like this, and she's holding the baby. Now I'm going to run this through the filter real quick and it's going to enhance it, but a little bit too much. See, now you can really make out her profile a lot better and see her face, and her headdress is coming over and going down back behind her.
And some of you with spiritual eyes, you can see other stuff going on over here as well. There's some witnesses over here. Okay, and back in here, there's something in here. I can't still make it out, but let's just continue.
And you can still make out the baby's head right here. And maybe if I pull back a little bit, there we go. And this was captured on October 4th. So this was about 11 days after the Revelation 12 sign. All this stuff started happening to me just prior to the Revelation 12 sign and then right after it. So it said the woman was about to give birth. Well, it looks like maybe she gave birth, and here's the little baby being caught up to God.
All right. The Revelation 12 baby was born in my garage, in my lower garage. This is our like man cave playroom for the kids, workshop area. It's a little extra, almost like a manger would be in the old days. This baby was born down in our manger area on October 4th of 2017. Okay, you see it?
Yep.
All right, cool. Then the next day, the very next day, this is the day I posted the video, or this is the day I posted the video on the 5th. This is the next day. And after I posted the wake up call video, I felt like I was going to die. I didn't feel very well, let's just say. And then I
Howdy,
went out to my
folks.
garage
Welcome
out there to
back.
pray.
So I've been going through some of the old photos and running them through the filter, and this was one of the first ones that I had ever captured. And what's going on here is I'm here on my knees. I'm
Oh, angel
crying
wings.
and
Yeah.
screaming and praying, all three at once. I was in some extreme anguish. A paranormal traumatic event happened to me. Something so unbelievable you guys wouldn't believe it. So if I told you, so I'm going to show you instead. So in this image here, I'm sitting here praying, and Mary's head appears right next to my head, and we're going to zoom in on this. You can't go in too tight on it, but she's looking down at my head this way. Let's see, there's pretty good. And you can make out her eye and her nose coming down, her shawl coming over, and it's in shadow right here. This is a shadow of the inside of her shawl going over her head like this. Here's her eye, her nose, her other eye would be on the other side there. Okay.
Kind of her profile.
You can't go in too tight on it. And then also is this white ball with an eye in it, this white orb with an eye in it.
The all seeing eye.
Okay, and that's not all, because over here in this corner up here is an angel, the silhouette of an angel with his wings spread, with his back to us, standing in a shaft of light. Here's his head. There's a glow over the head. The wings are extended, and there's a feather coming off. The last feather coming off is crossing over these brown roof tiles in the background here. And you can make out there's an angel right here. And you can even see his head right here. I'm going a little bit tighter.
All right, there you go, angel wings. They do exist. Okay, angels are real. You're looking at one right there. Showed up in my garage on October 5th, 2017, along with Mary, the God Eye. Okay, this is an anointing ceremony. All right. At first, I didn't know what was going on here, but it was years later I figured out, oh, that's what was going on there. So let's continue. Just had to kind of freeze frame on the angel wings for one of my lovely family named Angel Wings.
Here's the angel with his back to us and his wings spread.
Okay, that's the real spiritual realm right there. Anybody else tries to show you this or that or that or this, this is the real thing. Okay, this is electromagnetic residue on our digital cameras. Our digital cameras see more than just our eyes do. They pick up electromagnetic disturbances, don't they?
Yeah, you can see a lot better with the filter. Before it was really faint and it was hard to see. Same with this. This came out a little bit better here. Yeah, there's Mary looking down at my head because I was in anguish. I mean, what happened to me was just...
Okay. So there's that. Now we got all these different faces that follow me in the clouds now. And just one little quick explanation how we got from that to that is this one? No. Is that one, yeah. No. Sorry. My bad. It's been a minute here. Yeah.
More of these pictures and running them through the filter and stuff. And not only were we finding angels and Mary and stuff, but there's also demons, and I've also found Satan in this stuff too. So as we're looking here at this picture, what I'm talking about is in this mosaic of blotchy white dots that you see this picture is comprised of. When you zoom in really tight in on a picture, you'll see that it's made up of these splotchy little patches and dots. These new digital cameras make these little blotches. Well, hiding in these blotches are faces. And if you haven't seen it yet, There's an eye right here and an eye right here. And when you make eye contact with these two eyes right here, you'll see the mouth fall into place down here. It's snarling. If you look, it's got some kind of streaks or horns or something or wrinkles coming out of its head up here. And this is some kind of demon or principality. You know, other people refer to them as principalities, but this is what I'm talking about. And hopefully you can see this here. This is a pupil right here of an eye. This is a pupil of a bigger eye. Here's the whites of the eye, the white of this eye. These two eyes. Once you look at those, you'll see it falls into place. Maybe I'll pull back a little bit. You can see a little bit better. Zoom in. Right about there is good. And you can make out there's teeth here in this mouth. There's a corresponding mouth with these eyes, wrinkles going across the nose here. This is some kind of demon or principality.
Okay, so
and it's tucked in the way in the corner of this picture, way back up in here, and you can't even see.
Okay, so not only do we have the Schumann resonance doing its thing, but you also have principalities that are attacking you spiritually, okay? These kids are out here sleeping on the couch. We get angels that come in and protect the kids, but then these things lurking in the background, okay? Now, I showed you that. I'm not going to show you Satan's face tonight, but I'll show you that little principality thing right there so we can move forward to this video now. All right, just wrap this up real quick with this last video, and then we'll get to our reading.
Howdy, folks. Welcome back. So these faces that I've been showing you in the last few videos that are in the etherical or in that mosaic that I was talking about are not only taking place there, but now they're taking shape in our clouds. And with this new filter, I was able to go through some of these pictures, and it really makes them pop now. So if you can't see it yet, there's an eye here, an eye here, here's the nose, a mouth down below, here's an ear coming back up, the jaw running down, little pointed chin. And this face seems to almost be bisected. One half is like a goblin, and this other half looks like almost like a Wolverine or a Ewok type character. So I'll let you look at that for a minute. And this was pretty faint in the original picture, but now with the filter, it really makes it pop. So hopefully you guys can see that now. And then I'm going to bring you some more. Just real quick here, I wanted to show you the unfiltered version. This is the original right here compared to this one right here, where you can make out a lot better. Okay. Okay, one more, and this one right here, you can make out we have an eye here and an eye right here. Here's the nose, and here's some lips. And it looks like he's blowing. You can make out his ear over here. Horns and stuff coming up. His eyebrows.
Okay, he's blowing, and he's blowing out a bunch of clouds. The spiritual realm is also having an effect with our weather, too. Wouldn't you agree? Okay, so all that, this activity follows me everywhere I go. All right, today there were some massive faces. I saw a huge ram head. I'm an Aries. I was born on March 24th, but it had the cloud was this big cross right here on the forehead. A white cross opened up in the clouds. And I'm like, wow, look at this cross. And then it grew eyes and turned into a giant ram head with a white cross going across the forehead. It was amazing. I didn't have time to grab my camera and capture it because they happen very quickly. But there's an example of what's going on when you look up in your clouds. If you guys pulled your head out of the cell phone and stopped texting and looked up, you would see, well, what's going on. Okay, I've been capturing this for 4 years ago, 3 years ago on this one, okay? So this has been happening for quite a while. Now, all this stuff happens to me, well, because of who I am, all right? And I think you guys kind of figured that out. Now, you guys want to see the angel real quick? Here, just real quick. Okay, tilt your head to the right. She's hovering over the sleeping child down below here.
Howdy folks, welcome back. So I'm real excited to show you this one. This is an angel that was captured on my security cameras, and now I've run it through the filter here. So if you turn your head to the right about 45 degrees, you can make out the head, the hair, the breasts, it's a female, the torso, the waist, the legs coming down here, a wing coming off here, a wing coming off over here. And we'll zoom in on this real quick because this one's nice and clear that you can.
You see the face on it.
Okay. And this is an angel that was caught hovering in a shaft of light over this sleeping child down below here. So.
Okay, you guys see that little angel hovering over the sleeping kid? He's protecting him because see this little demon face back in here? See this eye and the teeth and the scraggly hair back here? Okay, this activity been captured. My cameras is real stuff. This the spiritual realm taking place now, all around me, everywhere I go. All right, whoops, let's pull back. All right, let's get on with our reading now. Just do a little foundation work right there to, well, that's for you guys, really. It's not like, hey, look at me, look what I discover type stuff. It's more so it'll make sense to you guys because this stuff is, well,
can make money online in a few spare hours.
Can be a little deep and a little disturbing. So it helps to get a full understanding what's going on here.
Welcome back. So
let that play for a second while I get my reading pulled up.
Yesterday, and I noticed something forming in the clouds. What looked like a face over here. And I'm going to start zooming in on this face because it's a real face. And if you look back behind it here, let's zoom in just a little bit. You'll notice that back behind here, this face is being projected by Jesus's heart right here. You can see it radiating out. Here's Jesus's face. He's pulling open his shirt, exposing his heart. His heart's radiating out this image in the sky. See this face here? And there's a crown right here. Also in the etherical, in black, there's another crown right here. Anyways, I just wanted to show you this picture. Isn't this amazing? And this face, I recognize this face. I know who this is. I know who this face is. I see him every morning in the mirror.
It's my face. Now my face is showing up in the clouds with a crown.
And a few moments later, in this image, I took a picture of the same cloud, but this is at a different angle. I rotated it 90 degrees. And I want you to look right up in here. You can see that there's a face, two eyes, smile. Here's the head. And the arms are outstretched, and he's holding a cell phone taking pictures of the sky.
I like that,
This is an image of me taking the pictures of the clouds. So the clouds are now mimicking me taking pictures of them.
Tilt your head to the right a little bit. You can see it better.
Pretty crazy. Tilt your head to the right a little bit. You can see it a lot clearer.
I had a teacher that used to do that. Okay, so here's my face again, showing up in the clouds. The clouds are mimicking me taking pictures of them. It hurts to do this. My shoulder's shattered, so to hold the cell phone up like that, all the blood runs out of your arms and your heart races, and especially when you're seeing what you're seeing, and then have the blood running out of your arms too. So here's the clouds capturing me in agony. I'm grimacing here. Okay, I'm just grimacing and a little bit of pain. My arm's shaking because, well, it hurts. But you can see I'm holding up a cell phone here, taking pictures of the clouds. The clouds are mimicking me because they're looking down at me, watching me, following me, studying every move, everywhere I go. All right, so this image basically for Jesus's heart here. Where's the best spot? Right there, I think it is. All right, so that's another image we'll read too. We got that one, this one. We'll pull open the face again. This is another incident caught out by the moon. Do we need to watch the video? Probably not. Okay.
That this is
Mr. MBB took this face, put it through a filter, cleaned it up a little bit so you can see it. We're going to pull this up because, well, daggone it, my face showing up again. This time not in the clouds, but out by the moon. Okay? And this is a big old giant face that's out there by the moon. I think you guys seen the video and you understand what happened there. Let's just do this really quick because this, more so than just the video of what he captured, the man's testimony. I am a stickler for testimony.
There's the moon. Oh, I lost it.
Post several interesting videos, and lately a lot of people have been emailing me like, James,
Right.
have you seen that face on the moon?
Not this guy, but
I'm like, what?
the gentleman who took this bought a new camera just to take this video.
So I started investigating, going after this face on the moon thing. I think I misunderstood it in the beginning. But then I found the video and I was like, oh my gosh, what is that? So let's just check this out. Let's take a look at this. So,
It is February 28th, 29th. I have gotten me a better quality camera to catch this thing in the sky. And holy moly, I am scared. I'm scared, but I'm not going to trip because I've been catching this thing for a while now. It's very ominous.
Been catching
There
it
he
for a
is.
while now.
There he is. There he is.
It's not the first time.
There he is.
You want a better
It's a
camera.
huge face
what is that?
looking right down on us. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit brighter. There he is. There's the moon. Oh, I lost it. There it is. Let's see if I can get a better picture on the moon like it's supposed to. Is my hand in front of the thing or something? All right, here we go.
Note the date, February 29th. Wait, there's only 28 days in February. This was on leap day. The one time out of 4 years that we get February 29th is the night that he captures this face by the moon. Also want you to look at the time frame. Okay, right about then, I was reading a spiritual report to you guys with the book light shining on my face. Okay, this image is of me reading to you guys.
There it is.
Look at that.
Yep, there it is. There it is.
What is that?
It's me, James.
So clear.
Nice to meet you.
There it is. It is.
Okay, so a little background for that video. Very important testimony. This guy had been seeing it for a while. He wanted to capture it clearly, so he went out and bought a better camera. Listen to the auto zoom on that camera. That's an expensive camera. Okay, he's not playing around. That guy put in some money to capture this. And now Mr. MBB has cleaned it up and you can clearly see this face, okay? It's a real face. I recognize my own face. I don't spend a lot of time in the mirror admiring myself, but I do need to shave every once in a while and, comb my hair, so I do recognize my own face. And after what I've been through, and I showed you what happened to me around that time frame back in 2017, and how all these faces follow me now in the clouds, UFOs, other races, advanced races from the past, follow, watch, and study every single thing I do. I even got other little creatures out in my yard that are wandering around checking me out too. So that all kind of verifies to me what's really going on. And then I see this guy capturing my face out by the moon. Uh-oh, better start telling people what's going on. So here we go. There is my face showing up with a crown on Easter of 2020. Okay? 2,000-year-old prophecy came true. Boom, 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 boom. And that's what you're looking at. Okay? This is your foundation. This is your rock which you can fall back on and the foundation on which you can build on. Okay? This is my face showing up in the clouds on Easter. You're here fascinated by what you see. It's intriguing. It's fascinating. It's like a good book or a good song. You get caught up in it. It takes you away from everything else for a minute and you get caught up in it. Okay, well, that's what it says. When you see these signs, look up. You will see me coming in the clouds. This is me coming in the clouds with power and great authority. Power and great. Okay. On Easter, 2,000-year-old prophecy came true. Okay. You are intrigued by what you see. You are caught up with me in the clouds. Understand? If you're caught up with me in the clouds, then you realize I would love to come over, D-Rez, and give you a big old hug. Thank you for that, your comment in the chat there. But I can't, okay? I'm kind of physically immobilized a little bit, so I want to meet with my family. But the only way I can is over YouTube, live streaming in the air of cyberspace. So I meet my family in the air. They get caught up with me in the clouds. We meet in the air. They get caught up with me in the clouds. Well, if you're caught up with me in the clouds and you met me in the air, well, you're raptured. But the word rapture isn't in the Bible. It's a completion. It's a feeling inside you. Now you know your faith has taken a new step into knowing. Okay? That's completing your faith, is when the real deal shows up and completes it and finishes it. And when you realize who I am, then you'll realize who you are. I give you your true identity. You can throw your true identity away and not believe me, or you can trust in me and be a child of God. It's pretty simple stuff, as long as you believe. That's the key. So we're working on, our salvation, which is believing. Okay, now you believe, you're taking your salvation to a next level of salvaging. Okay, I am in the salvage business. I like to take old broken down things and restore them. Old broken down relationships, old broken down people, old broken down hearts and souls. I like to restore them. Okay, and I do it each day. It's a daily thing. Each day is a precious gift. That's how you work this, is one day at a time, right? And when you start off your day with me, you're going to have better results throughout the course of your day. Now, even though it's 2 in the morning, 1 in the morning, technically it has changed into the next day. Okay, so actually you have started your day with me, haven't you? On the clock we have, right? So when you do this with me each night, well, it's morning, you meet me early in the morning splendor, don't you? You're looking at morning splendor right here. Start off your day with some splendor, right? Meet me in the early morning splendor. I eagerly await you here in the stillness of this holy time with me. I renew your strength and saturate you with peace. While others turn over for extra sleep, or anxiously tune into the latest news, you commune with the creator of the universe. I have awakened in your heart the strong desire to know me. Haven't I? Have I awakened a strong desire in your heart to know me? I must have, because you're still here at this point of the show, and that's what we do is I know you, you're getting to know me. Okay? So while everybody else is turning over for extra sleep or anxiously tuning into the fake news, you choose to come over here and commune with the creator of the universe. I have indeed awakened in your heart a strong desire to know me. This longing originated in me, okay? That longing that you have for love originated in me, okay? See? See that heart? The longing, though it now burns brightly in you. So, when you seek my face in response to my love call, both of us are blessed. Well, if you're here and you enjoy this part of the show and you're getting the peace and the relief, that's the love call, right? You see that heart up there. And when you seek my face in response to that love call, both of us are blessed, aren't we? I get a new friend and you get, well, the best gift ever. Okay. Yeah. And then also, when you share this too, not only is the person you share this with blessed, of course, they see this image and go, oh, all right, it blesses them, right? But it blesses you for sharing it. Do you understand how spreading the word blesses you, right? Well, when you're sharing this, it blesses you, doesn't it? Doesn't it? Okay, this is a deep mystery and is designed more for your enjoyment than for your understanding. Okay, this deep mystery is for your enjoyment, not for your understanding. Okay, I'm not some mean God who discourages pleasure. I delight in your enjoyment of everything that is true, noble, right, pure, lovely, admirable. Think on these things. Think on these things that are true. Think on things that are noble. Think about things that are right, pure, and lovely. Think about things that are admirable. Think on those things, and my light in you will shine brighter day by day. It will shine brighter day by day, each day getting brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter. Each day you seek my face and you think about everything that is true, noble, right, pure, lovely, and admirable, then my light in you will shine brighter each day we go. Keep working it. Keep moving forward. When you do that, when you keep moving forward, you will find me in the midst of the maelstrom. All right, sometimes events whirl around you so quickly that you become a blur. You become a blur, they become a blur, everything just becomes this weird blur. That's when you need to find me in the midst of that maelstrom. Okay, when events are whirling around you so quickly that they become a blur, find me in that blur. Whisper my name in recognition that I am still with you. Do you hear me? I am with you. Without skipping a beat in the activities that you occupy or that occupy you, you find strength and peace through praying my name. Later, when the happenings have run their course, You can talk with me more fully. Okay, sometimes these things have to run their course. And that's the thing that you got to accept. When you're going through an issue, it's like, all right, I accept it. It's just going to have to run its course. And then once that, circumstance is over, then bring it to me. Let's talk about it. Bring it to me fully. And then accept each day just as it comes to you. Don't waste your time and energy wishing for a different set of circumstances. Quit doing that. Quit wasting time and energy wishing things were different. Instead, trust me enough to yield to my design and my purposes. Yield yourself to my design and purposes. Remember that nothing can separate you from my loving presence. You are mine. You are mine. I bought you at a price. You are mine. Believe it. Receive it. Without skipping a beat. Accept each day as it comes to you. Trust me enough, yield to my design and purposes, and remember that nothing can separate you from my presence. Is that the end of it? Oh no. Okay, a tangent goes up to this one here. Because, off of that, we can go over. Listen closely, because I know what you guys are going through. I hear you right now. Expect to encounter adversity in your life, remembering that you live in a deeply fallen world. Stop trying to find a way that circumvents your difficulties. The main problem with an easy life is that it masks your need for me. When you became a Christian, I infused my very life into you, empowering you to live on a supernatural plane by depending on me. When you're depending on me, you're living on a supernatural plane. Did you know that? I infuse my very life into you, just like this picture right here. This is me infusing my life. That could be your face too, okay, with a crown. Okay, I infuse my very love and my life into you. I empower you to live on a supernatural plane by depending on me. Oh, and by the way, anticipate coming face to face with impossibilities, situations totally beyond your ability to handle. Anticipate coming face to face with impossibilities. Okay? Anticipate that. You're going to come face to face with impossibilities. Situations that are totally beyond your ability to handle. But this awareness of your inadequacy is not something you should try to evade. It is precisely where I want you. The best place to encounter me in my glory and power is when you are aware of your inadequacy. Okay, and some things have to bring about awareness of that inadequacy. So stop trying to evade it. That's where I want you. That's where you're learning. That's where you're growing. It's the best place to encounter me in my glory. So when you see armies of problems marching towards you, cry out to me. Allow me to fight for you, and then watch me working on your behalf. I said on your behalf. Watch me working on your behalf as you rest in the shadow of my almighty presence. Guys, resting in the shadow right now of my almighty presence. I am present at the moment with you. Okay, that was the closing. But I want to remind you guys, when you see armies of problems marching towards you, cry out to me. Allow me to fight for you. Uh-oh. If you allow me to fight for you, your enemy's in big trouble. They're in hot water. So, you just get to rest and relax in the shadow of my presence. Get it? That's what you're doing right now. You guys are relaxing in my presence. Let go and let me allow to fight for you. Allow me to fight for you. Quit wasting time and energy. And when you see armies of problems marching towards you, cry out to me. Give it a shot. Got nothing to lose and everything to gain. And most of you that are here have been practicing these disciplines and seeing results. Maybe not at first right off the bat, but if you're patient and persistent, that's what we're trying to teach you here is patience and persistence. You're going to stand and walk, okay, with your head held high, knowing who you are, who you belong to, okay? I love you guys. I really do. Told you about some of the institutions I went to where nobody believed me, right? But I endured them and I was delivered from each one of them. Okay, imagine this. Let's call this one the catch 44. You know what a catch 22 is, right? You do this and then bad happens, or if you do the opposite, bad happens. You're kind of stuck in a situation that you can't get out of. That's what a catch 22 is a situation you can't get out of. I've been locked in an insane asylum where I wasn't getting out. And I try to get them to look at this so they'll understand I'm not lying. It's not delusional. But then that makes you crazier. So you got to learn to play their game and then play crazy and then show improvement and then play their game, take their meds till you can get out of said situation. And I knew when I got thrown out in the desert and sent to Caliente, Nevada. Caliente is Spanish for hot. Okay. I was in the middle of what the Death Valley makes Death Valley look like Club Med. All right. And I knew I'd be delivered. I already knew. Then a couple of years later, was homeless and I got kicked out of the clink and thrown out at the base of this mountain. They actually threw me out at the base of this mountain right here. And I knew I would be fine. I went over, found a little campsite, set up Camp Zion with a little tent in the bushes, and I lived out there for a month or two. But I knew I'd be delivered. I wasn't worried. I didn't think it was the end of my life and I was going to be homeless for the rest of my life. I knew what was going on. It's another test. And when I got delivered right here at the base of this mountain, I knew I would be fine. And then 2 months later, I was delivered and now I'm back home. There was no question. I knew what was going on. And that's what you guys need to do is recognize throughout the course of your life, where were you delivered from? Where was this impossible situation that you thought, oh man, if I'm stuck in this for the rest of my life, but something changed, right? So just remember, you will be delivered. You will. No matter what your circumstances, trust, know that you will be delivered, and therefore your circumstances don't look so bad. You can actually go camping and enjoy the homelessness as a camping experience instead of looking at it as being homeless. I got some time away where I could be alone and enjoy nature. And so I just took the new perspective of that situation and just kept moving forward. Okay. And that's what you guys do. You're practicing, you're getting it. It's salvaging your day. You guys, most people, Christians, are pretty peaceful and have, moderate days. But some of us have spiritual attacks and have to, adjust. Okay. D-Res, you overdosed and were in a coma with a BAC of 0.47. Guess what? Same here. 0.47, the highest BAC at my hospital. Yep, and I was in a coma for a few days. You and I got a lot in common. See, I can relate. That's the cool thing about me. I've been through everything. I can relate to your situation, to your circumstances, and I can tell you time and time again, you will be delivered. Keep trusting. Know that's your foundation. That's like I keep showing you, your foundation. You'll know you'll be delivered. I was delivered from this spot. I'm no longer living out in a tent right here. Okay. And I had no fear. I knew I'd be okay. And the sights that I caught in the clouds while I was camped out there were amazing. Right? Of course, there's going to be a beautiful display going on over my head. So I was out there enjoying it and not looking at it as the end of my life, right? Okay, that's how it works. You guys are in the salvage business too, okay? Maybe your day isn't running smooth and perfect all the time. You got spiritual entities attacking you. You got mainstream media that's driving you nuts, all right? So you have to recover your day, all right? That means take a break from everything, unplug, sit silently, pray for a minute. When you do, it takes your mind off of your circumstances. You connect with me. You open that connection. When you pour out yourself to me, then I can pour in. See, you got this glass and it's so full I can't pour anything into it. So you got to kind of pour out your junk so I can put some clean stuff in there. You see what I'm saying? And that's what we do here each night, this show. There's another show that I like to watch. He's a fellow brother Christian, and it's just a nice voice to hear, kind of relieving in the morning, and hopefully my voice and my show brings some peace and relief, much like I get from a fellow Christian too. Okay, so this is for your peace. Okay, this is for your courage. This is for overcoming your adversity. Now, when adversity strikes, you'll look at it as it's part of the affliction. You should be honored that you're afflicted and attacked by the spiritual realm, because if you're not being attacked by it, something's wrong. Okay? So when you believe this, of course, negative things are going to come along and try to stop it. That's how you endure. You salvage that day. Sometimes you have to do it twice. Maybe you won't have to do it at all, maybe 3 times. And sometimes, even though you're trying really hard and it's not working, try taking a nap. I do sometimes, and I'll wake up and I feel much better. And I restart the second half of the day with a nap in between. So if the salvage wasn't working, the praying and the quiet time wasn't working, try taking a nap too. Okay, or eat something. Sometimes we get hungry, we get angry. We get tired, we get angry. Okay, we're trying to salvage our day. We try to be a positive influence into other people's lives. When someone asks you, how's your day going? And you answer, yeah, it's going fine. Sure didn't sound like it to me. I heard in your voice, yeah, it's going fine. See, when it's really going fine, somebody asks you, you're like, oh, my day's going much better. You're like, well, I never heard that answer before. Much better than what? Well, earlier today started off a little rough, but I'm doing much better now. And you bring that much better into somebody else's life and you put a smile on their face. That's me shining through you into others' lives. Your face shines like this into their life, just like my face shines like this into your life. That hope, that peace that I bring to you, I want you to bring that to others the best that you can. It's progress, not perfection. Okay. It's not your performance, it's your willingness to try. Okay. Your willingness. Okay. You say, okay, I'll give this a try. That's what it is. When you give this a try and just believe for 1 minute, all of a sudden, miraculous things start happening. So don't leave before the miracle happens, okay? Keep trying these disciplines. They will bring peace in your life. You will have a new perspective. That new perspective is living close to me. That term, living close to me, means seeing the world from my perspective, seeing your life from my perspective, and then doing your salvage work on a daily event, daily, and recovering and bringing that into other people's lives, just like I try to do here for you guys. All right. I love you. I miss you. I'm back. I told you I would be back. Okay. I'm back. When you accept that, wonderful things start to happen in your life. Then you see the spiritual battle, you take it on head first, and you have success. When you're overcoming stuff, you're growing stronger. So when you prayed for strength, you got adversity. The opposite of what you prayed for. And see, that's where everybody gets things wrong. They're praying for money, and then I give them a job. Oh, I didn't want a job. Now I wanted a basket full of money. Well, you would have a basket full of money if you worked this job. See, everybody's looking for their angle of it, but when it comes in a different form, the prayer is answered. You just didn't see it. Okay, so look for those treasures along your path each day. Okay, recognize the miracles, the treasures in your life. Try to bring that light into other people's lives. Okay, you can see how valuable this is going to be in the near future. You watching the news, I feel you guys. I know what you're watching. I see right through your eyes. I can see what you're watching. Okay, so I know what's going on inside up there from what you're taking on from the media as well as from this show. And now you're making some new adjustments in your thinking patterns. You're thinking through this filter now. That's my perspective, okay? You're starting to see things from my perspective. That's living close to me. Not only are you caught up with me in the clouds, not only have we met in the air, now you are starting to, you're having success. You're becoming your true self. All right, and you're finding that peace and everything. Whew, I think that's it. Anything else, Lord, that you're going to squeeze out? No, I think we might be done for the show tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed. All right. This show can be disturbing, but that's why we do this part so you can understand. All right. Now, for everybody who wants to go, you can go. I want to chat with D-Rez here real quick and check out the chat here and say some thank yous. Instead of saying Jesus Christ in frustration, say Jesus, keep me aware of your presence. Yep. Hey. When it's in frustration, that's when you really need it, isn't it? That's when I hear it the most, is in the frustration. Help me! Oh, now you... Instead of, oh, help me, Lord. No. Sometimes your words are powerful, even as they are now. I love you, D-Raz. Angel Wings, thank you for being here. Hopkinson. I was hoping we had our new little member here, but I think she might be hiding still. And that's okay. You can take your time to join the chat. Everybody here is friendly. The only one that bites is me. And I'll kiss you and make it all better. All right. I love you all. I miss you all. Until my next show, I will be back. I am already back, and I am still to come. See you tomorrow. Bye.